Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. I'm excited that tonight we have a facilitator who is one of our administrators, one of our committed members, and when she will offer to teach, I was more than excited. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight our facilitator is Titilope Kolade Iyola, and she'll be taking us on a topic titled Organizational Design, Theories and Model. My name is Oluyemi Adeosun. I'll quickly read the profile of our facilitator. Ladies and gentlemen, Titilope Kolade Iyola is a dynamic and evolving human resource professional with over a decade hands-on experience in HR operations, talent acquisitions. It would be good if the slides is on full slide. On slideshow, please. Talent acquisition, employee relations across diverse sectors. Currently, she serves as the manager of human resources and administration at Greenstand Projects Limited. She has previously held progressive roles as ISON Experience and ISON BPO International, where she contributed to large-scale recruitment drives, managed HR operations for over 700 staff, and supported ISO 9001:2015 quality management system compliance efforts. Titilope brings growing expertise in industrial and employee relations, policy development, compensation and benefit, and organizational restructuring, fostering positive workplace culture. Currently, she's running an MSc in management in human resources, one of the top UK universities. She's an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management and also a member of the Association for Corporate Governance Professionals in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, she has a registered startup consulting outfit which offers end-to-end HR advisory services. Speaking to us on the topic, organizational design, theories and model, I'm excited to hand over control to Titilope Kolade Iyola.
Thank you very much, sir. And thank you for this opportunity and the platform. Good evening, everyone. My name is Titilope Kolade Iyola, so TKI for short. So I'll be taking the topic organizational design, theories and models. So let me first start by saying it may look very theoretical. Yes, so there'll be sequels to this particular series. Let me call it a series. I've not even informed Dr. Do. I'm developing the other ones anyways. So there'll be sequels, you know, there'll be another session where we can relate some of these models to our Nigerian context. Let's bring it back home. But let's start from here first. So this is like a foundation. So the theories and models. Okay, so let me see how well I can view my chat box from here. I'd love if anyone can tell us what they understand by organizational design, like how well do you understand organizational design? What do you understand organizational design to me? Let me rephrase the question that way. What do you think organizational design is? In your own words, it doesn't have to be from any AI tool, please. In your own words, how do you understand it? How would you explain it to a layman? Like that. So we are learning. Let's go. Please, I love interactions. Our numbers are growing. I can see it. I love interactions. So let's go, please. So what do you think organizational design is? In your own words, how do you understand it? Are we there? I hope we are there. I can see one message. Let's see. Is that for us? Okay, thank you, Eniola. She says structure of the organization. Yes, simply put. Okay, please, you can raise your hand if you need to speak. Otherwise, you can just drop a message in the chat box. Please, okay. Okay, Shula says a strategy plan, maybe. Yes, Yeah, it's part of it. It's part of it too. But that's like in a broader context, you know. It's more like structure of the organization, like Eniola says, simply put. Okay, thank you for the contribution so far. So let's just shoot. Let's dive in. So organizational design is an HR methodology for executing an organization's strategic plan with resources, training, workflows, processes, systems, and other work-related mechanisms. So just like Eniola said, it's the structure of the organization. So how do you go about it? The entire methodology, that's what organizational design is all about. So of course, yes, strategy is a part of it. So Shula, you see why I said it's what you said, strategy, but in a broader context. So it supports growth while delivering high quality products, services, and customer experiences. One of the most fundamental questions organizational design answers is, who do we hire and when? So let me just say at this juncture that organizational design is like the backbone of any organization. The backbone of any organization. For you to start anything, first of all, for you to even put structures in place, okay, I need this department, I need that department, I need that department, I need this role, you know, occupying here and all of that. You have to have a design. So you see, it answers who do we hire, when, and even why for me. Okay, so as companies grow, it defines strategies for entering new markets, setting up offices, optimizing workflows, streamlining decision-making, of course, building teams. You see what I was saying? So that's like the backbone of any organization. Before you even build your team, you need an organizational design plan in place, you know, eliminating silos and managing change. Managing change, like I'm sure we're more familiar with that anyways, when it comes to change management. Okay, so in essence, organizational design determines how a company will achieve its strategic goals from a human resource perspective, creating a structure that facilitates objectives and maximizes resource use. So we can't just start out to, you know, hire 50 people in our quality department, for example. Why do you need 50 people? Why? Have you done your manpower planning? Got informed that decision? You just went ahead to hire 50. Why? What's your organization's vision? What's your mission? You know, what do you need to put in place? That's like the entirety of what organizational design means. Okay. So foundations of organizational design: strategic alignment, customized approach, conceptual framework. So strategic alignment, organizational design refers to how an organization is structured to execute its strategic plan and achieve its goals. The optimal type is determined by the organization's strategy and must align with both external environments and internal capabilities. I think that's explanatory enough. Customized approach. There are no universal best practices in organizational design. Absolutely correct. I'll say that anywhere. There's nothing that is cast in stone. Nothing. Absolutely nothing when it comes to organizational design. You just have to look at your organization's vision, mission, their strategy before you know what to design, how to design, which models are you even adopting. You know, there are myriad models in organizational design, but you have to look at your organization first before you know which model best suits your current practices and all of that. For some people, for some organizations, when we get to that one, you know, I already mentioned at the beginning that there'll be a sequel to this particular session where I'm looking at bringing it home, like within the Nigerian or the African context. Okay, so we can map some of these models, as we'll see in subsequent slides, where we can map some of them to prominent organizations here in Nigeria. And, you know, some of us on the call also get to relate it to our own organizations. Like you can say, oh, okay, so this is the model we adopt in my organization and all of that. Okay, so yes, let's forge ahead. So every organization has different needs, and following another organization's method is not likely to lead to lasting success. Of course, yes. You know, you can't do a copy and paste. Just the way human faces are different, and we usually say the way our faces are different, our needs are different. That's how it is. Every organization, of course, has different needs. So all of that has to be looked into before you design an organizational structure, right? Organization designers use frameworks, not prescriptions. Yes, certainly. So conceptual framework. An organizational design model serves as a conceptual framework to diagnose the current state, visualize a successful future state, and establish an identity, including purpose, value, and culture to help the organization thrive. So we see all the elements that go into organizational design. You know, you don't just wake up and you decide that, okay, we're going to be adopting the matrix framework. No, what if you need a hybrid because your organization is very dynamic, you know? Okay, so here are some models. Please, like I said earlier, this part of it might look very theoretical, like you have to go back to classroom to understand all of this. But of course, this is like an opener to organizational design, like we're going back to the basics. Okay, so the pre-classical era. From ancient times until mid-19th century, organizations were small and simple, of course, 19th century. The focus was on division of labor, with craftsmen and artisans performing tasks. I'm sure we understand all of this. There weren't any proper formal structures in place in that era. So that's why it's like this. The guild system regulated production and sale of goods. So classical organizational theory emerged during late 19th and early 20th centuries, focusing on formal structures, hierarchies, and efficiency. So things are beginning to change here, a gradual evolution, still very gradual, you know. So Frederick Taylor developed scientific management, breaking work into specialized tasks. Max Weber introduced bureaucracy with formal rules and clear hierarchy. Things are beginning to become formal and a little bit structured here. So the neoclassical approach emerged in the 1930s, emphasizing the human side of organizations and introducing human relations concepts, focused on social and psychological aspects of work. So we can begin to relate with it from this point. Recognizing employee satisfaction and motivation. You see what I was saying? So Elton Mayo's Hawthorne studies showed attitudes and social interactions impact productivity. So if I had done a detailed breakdown of all of these, you know, theories and all of that, we'll have like 50 slides on this session. So I just had to keep them brief, just to give us a background. Okay, so modern organization design theories. There isn't one under contingency theory, sorry. And this particular contingency theory seems to be like the most popular or, popular, you know, modern day theory, this particular contingency theory. So there isn't one best way of organizing or leading. That's what I was trying to say the other time when I said there's nothing that is cast in stone. You just have to find out what works and make it formal, you know, structure it properly. So internal and external constraints determine which organization and leadership style works best. The organization's design must fit with its environment, very important. An effective organization depends on its fit with subsystem. Absolutely. Everything has to be interconnected and they must work together. You know, the organization design cannot come up with a structure where one team will work without any input from another team, so to say. Like, I'm just trying to simplify what that means. Okay, so systems theory now. Organizations are viewed as complex systems interacting with their environment. The arrangement is designed to achieve objectives with men, materials, and money planned accordingly. We know all those MMMs. The system is an interconnected, interdependent arrangement where various components are subsystems managed for organizational goals. So everything we are doing at the end of the day, the entire goal of the organizational design is to achieve the desired organizational goal, right? So organizational culture theory emphasizes understanding the shared values and beliefs of organization members. It recognizes the importance of culture in shaping organizational behavior and how it influences all aspects of operations and decision-making. So nothing is left behind, like every aspect of the organization's structure is considered in the organization theory. Okay, so moving on to the models now. I must say, before I continue, let me just drop this. So there are quite a number of models. So I have just picked a few. I've just picked a few, which I'll be explaining as seen on the slides. So we have the J. Galbraith star model. And the J. Galbraith star model has these 5 main points as seen here: strategy, structure, people, processes, and rewards. It's very popular for people that have done anything under organizational design in the classroom. You must discuss this J. Galbraith, or you must discuss it like it's a must. Am I still visible, please? I clicked on something to hide on my screen. Hello, am I still audible and visible? Can you hear me and can you see me? Can someone confirm, please? Hello. Oh. Can anybody see me and hear me? Okay, thank you. Someone says I'm as clear as DSTV. Thank you for that confirmation. Okay, yes. So we were on J. Galbraith's organizational design model. Okay, so strategy determines direction and establishes organizational goals and objectives. Clear as it can be. Yeah. Structure determines the location of decision-making, power, and authority relationships. That's structure. Very strong, a very strong one there. Very strong one. If you get your structure right, your organization is as good to go itself. Yes. Processes governs the flow of information and response to technologies. Processes governs the flow of information and response to technology. So HR, we're all about people, process, culture. So we see that all of that were from J. Galbraith's model, right? So people, selection and development of the right talent aligned with other policies. You see, this is where talent management comes in under organizational structure. So like everybody works hand in hand. You know, you have an OD expert working on your structure. You have your HR, your full HR, your HR generalist working on your processes. You have your culture person working on maybe strategy or something, and you have your talent management experts or your talent acquisition experts working on selecting and hiring the right fits for the organization. See, everybody works together, even under organizational design, like every team, every unit works together. So rewards provides motivation and incentives for desired behavior. You see, you have your comp and bend person there. So everybody works together, you know, to achieve organizational goals. That's always the end. That's always the end point. Developed in the 1960s, the STAR model is a foundation for design choices, like a foundation. Everybody will always refer to this STAR model. Everybody will always refer to, like every organizational design expert, I mean to say. So it consists of design policies controllable by management that influence employee behavior. I'll take that again. It consists of design policies controllable by management that influence employee behavior. By choosing desired behaviors, managers can affect organizational performance and culture. By choosing desired behaviors, managers can affect organizational performance and culture. So I would say that even though this model was developed in the 1960s, it is still it is still a major point of reference when it comes to organizational design for any organization. It's still a major point of reference. It's a foundation, like foundation. Everybody must start from here. Your people selection must be right. It just has to be right. Your processes must align with your organization's vision and mission, and your corporate identity. Your processes must just align. Your rewards system just has to be proper. It has to be in place. It has to be competitive, everything. Your structure just has to be right, you see? So everybody just has to refer to this model. So that's the foundation when you're looking for a framework to adopt under organizational design. So let's move. Okay, why is my slide not moving? This is my slide moving at your end. It's stuck on J. Galbraith doesn't want to leave my screen. Oh my. Okay. Yes, so traditional organizational structures. So hierarchical or vertical, whichever one you decide to call it. So traditional, as as the word implies, hierarchical, we already know what that means. It's clear enough. Traditional top to down structure with the CEO at the top, followed by executives and management. And this defines clear channels for communication, but can create silos and bureaucracy. I'm sure many of us can relate to the demerits of this particular structure, right? Okay, so functional. Organizes employees into departments based on functions or skills. It allows for a decentralized decision-making, for efficient production, but may present silo challenges. But I bet you the silo challenges you find under a functional structure wouldn't be as bad as that you find under the vertical structure. Okay, so divisional structure organizes employees based on markets, products, or locations. You understand this bit? Each division may have different teams, challenges, and priorities requiring unique approaches, like we have in banks. Let me not give you expo. I already mentioned that there was going to be a sequel to, this session sometimes in the nearest future. Okay, so modern organizational structures. We have the flat structure. It's a continuation of the previous one, though. We have the flat structure, similar to the hierarchical, but without formal channels. The CEO interacts with everyone directly, like there are no managers, that cascading effect is not there. It's just from the CEO to everybody. The CEO interacts with everyone directly. It works best for fast-paced startups, providing autonomy and free-flowing communication, but limiting growth potential. You see, but limiting growth potential. So I can say, as a matter of experience, that some startups, I cannot say many, so I would only say some, speaking for those I'm familiar with, some startups fall in this category. Yeah, they operate under this flat structure where the CEO, relates with everybody. Like those middle managers are not there. You don't have any level beneath the CEO level. You just go straight to the teams, and that relationship is there. It's there. It works more in startup firms. So matrix structure organizes employees by both function and product. Employees report to functional and product managers simultaneously. Looks cumbersome, right? But you'd be shocked that it works very well in some organizations. Reduces silos through cross-functional collaboration, but may create power struggles. Doesn't mean it creates power struggles in all scenarios, but may create power struggles, because employees or executives in this kind of systems have what we call dual reporting. Okay, you're reporting to the GM and you're reporting to your own direct line manager, that kind of thing. So power struggles, experiences here and there, but it doesn't mean it happens in every scenario. Okay, so there's another structure called holacracy, a decentralized structure where teams are autonomous and responsible for decision making. Sounds interesting. So everybody takes their life into their hands, right? Aims to eliminate bureaucracy, but can create worst silo issues, pulling the company in different directions. You know, it looks like a formal, properly structured coordination is absent in this kind of structure. But then there are organizations that operate like this. You know, off the top of my head, I see tech organizations work this way. So I now don't know about how worse the silos can be. That would vary, depending on the organization, how well they can manage themselves. Okay, so the transformational model. The transformational model also has these 5, pivotal points like environment, strategy, core process, structure, culture, and results. So environment, the organization as a living system that must maintain harmony with external factors, including competition, legal, social, and political climates. That's under the environment structure. Under strategy, how the organization competes by adding value for customers, including performance targets and growth systems. Core process, the flow of work and enabling technology that organizes all other business activities. So that's what defines the core process of any organization, like the core process, the business of the business itself, the flow of work and enabling technology that organizes all other business activities. Okay, so structure, how people are organized around business processes, defining boundaries, roles, and reporting relationships. So this is speaking to structure under the transformational model. And for me, this is like what structure is generally as regards organizational design. You know, it is how you have organized your people, vis-a-vis the business processes. Every role is clearly defined, reporting lines clearly defined. There is no cause for any, issues anywhere. Everything is properly and clearly structured and defined. So culture and results, how the organization operates and translates strategy into practice, measured by well-designed metrics. How the organization operates and translates strategy into practice, measured by well-designed metrics. So this means you don't just come up and you want to redefine something and you're going to your management like with just plenty words, speaking from your head based on experience or anything. You're going there prepared, you have your analysis properly done, properly presented with data to back up. So you're speaking with facts backed up with data. So that's the only way you can achieve a good organizational design plan, as regards the transformational model for those that, decide to adopt this anyways. So this was created by the Center for Organizational Design in 1995. That's still very much recent. The transformation model helps leaders understand their organizations and guide successful redesign. It comprises 8 variables that form the organizational context with the objective of achieving balance amongst them. Of course, there has to be a balance because each variable should not be a standalone kind of. They have to like work together to achieve a goal. So you cannot just stand on your own and you're, in an organization, but you want to stand on your own and be working. No, that synergy has to be there between teams, between all the variables for you to achieve the organizational goal. Okay, so there's another model up on the screen again. It's Wizboard's 6-box model. Wizboard's 6-box model. So here we have purpose, structure, relationships, rewards, leadership, and helpful mechanism. So the purpose box is asking the question, what business are we in? So why are we even here? What business are we transacting? So that's what the purpose box is saying. So the structure box says, how do we divide up the work? You know, who takes what role, or what role is necessary to achieve this work? That's what the structure box is saying. What role is important to achieve, or what role is required rather to achieve this level of work? Relationship box says, how do we manage conflict and coordination? Okay, all the interpersonal and intrapersonal relationship and all of that all comes under this relationship box. How do we manage conflict and coordinate successfully within the organization, within the teams? The reward box says, are there incentives for doing what needs to win? Are there incentives? What's your total reward systems like? The leadership box is saying, is someone keeping the boxes in balance? You know, on like that, what's that model again? Where it's just the CEO and the team members. You don't have any managers. You don't have any managers intersecting between the CEO and the team. So is there someone keeping the boxes in balance? And helpful mechanism boxes, do we have adequate coordinating technologies? Do we have adequate coordinating technologies? So yesterday, Vicky was telling us on the HR technology webinar, she was telling us how it is important, you know, to adopt useful technology, useful AI technology now, to be precise, in executing our work. You know, the need, she emphasized the need to work smart and not work hard. You know, we are no longer in that era of hard work. We are now in the era of smart work, of course. So how are you implementing your own smart work? So that's what these helpful mechanisms is saying. Do you have adequate coordinating technologies? So this Whizboard 6-box model was presented by Marvin Whizboard in 1976. This model serves as a diagnostic tool designed to understand relationships and balance elements. By envisioning these 6 elements as blips on a radar screen, it shows how to manage relationships similar to how air traffic controllers work with aircraft distance, altitude, and velocity. Okay, so we now have physics in HR. Interesting. Okay, so we have McKinsey's 7S design model. McKinsey's 7S design model. So the 7 S's are shared values, strategy, structure, systems, style, staff, and skills. Those are the 7 S. So they are grouped based on their, you know, relativity, kind of. So under shared values, we have core norms and standards guiding behavior. Core norms and standards guiding behavior. Under strategy and structure are paired together under this McKinsey's 7S design model. So let me just digress a little. So people that have done organization design in classroom, one way or the other, you've also, I'm very, very sure of that. You've also come across this McKinsey's 7S design model. It's always taught. Okay, so strategy and structure are grouped together here because they speak to competitive approach and organizational arrangement. Also, we have systems and style grouped together because they also speak to processes, procedures, and leadership approach. So here I believe leadership approach is the style being referred to. Leadership approach, leadership style, of course. Then we have staff and skills. Staff and skills, of course, people and competence. They just have to work together, you know. So workforce composition and organizational capabilities, absolutely. Workforce composition and organizational capabilities. Okay, so those are the 7 S's under this McKinsey 7S design model. So one of the most well-known organizational design models, McKinsey 7S framework, analyzes effectiveness, through the interactions of 7 key elements, as earlier mentioned. It examines how these elements balance and align together as a whole, not just individually or in relation to strategy. The model divides elements into hard, that's strategy, structure, and systems, and also soft. Under the soft category, you have skills, staff, style, and shared values. So the hard elements are easier to manage, while the soft elements, though less tangible, are equally important for organizational success. So shared values form the core, influencing all other elements. I completely agree. Shared values form the core, influencing all other elements. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our session. Sorry. All right, I can see that there are some messages in the chat box. So if you have a question, or let me first say contribution, you want to contribute to this class, please, you have to do so by a raise of your hand. Now that we are at the end of this session, you have to do so by a raise of your hand. Or if you're unable to speak where you are, you can also drop a comment in the chat box. I'll do well to read them out. Yes, thank you, Vivian. I see your message. Okay, please, let's contribute, so far based on the models, the frameworks we have looked at on the slides. Can you relate with any one of them? Can you say, yes, I know for certain that this is what my organization practices, or I know this? Okay, don't mention any organization's name, but you can say, oh, this is what my organization practices. You don't have to tell us the name, and you want to say anything, you want to discuss further, please, we still have some time. And there'll be a sequel to this class, like I said. So I'll bring it back home. I'll give us more. I'll do a mapping of the popular frameworks and organizations, or prominent organizations that practice them here in Nigeria, so we can relate better. Uncle K, BRB to where? Please contribute. Please unmute and contribute. Thank you, sir.
Shula.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so this session, right, Titi Lope, thank you so much. Funny enough, when you started, I was wondering, like, organizational design. Okay, so you see, when I make my comments, that is it strategy, is it, like, I had to put a question mark, because honestly it didn't even occur to me that it was the same thing as structure. Rara, it did not occur to me at all. But yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to the sequel for this, because I think that is where my questions will come in. For now, I like only what you said. And tomorrow, when I'm done watching again, maybe I'll have to come and look for you personally and ask if I have any question. But I'm looking forward to the sequel. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the contribution. Okay. So, sir, Dr. Sir, do you want to say anything for that? I can see some of my other Agba colleagues here. Uncle K, okay. Go ahead, sir. Uncle K, you've been unmuted. Yes.
Thank you so much, TKI, for this wonderful presentation. You really made it very short, very succinct, very brief, but loaded, because I know organizational design, OD, is actually like, as you said, the strategy part of HR, where you put a lot of works in place, and you have really made it so simple. Kudos to you, fantastic. You're always as clear as the STV each time I see you. So I'll be looking forward to the other part of this, your presentation, where we'll really partake in other stuff. But just to say kudos, well done for this great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we have a question. Sorry, my brother Laru, please permit me. There's a question here from Mr. Kuye in the chat box. It says for organizations who have not started at all, how can it begin the implementation of process design? Okay, sir. Well, my advice usually, not because I, do consulting for startups or anything, but my advice really would be to speak to an organization design consultant. They'll help you better because they know how to do the diagnosis and everything. They'll look at your business model and what works. So let me just stop there. I hope that answers the question, sir. Please let me know. Okay, Mrs. Babalola, please, ma, let Laru speak, then I'll unmute you. Thank you. Okay, Laru.
All right, thank you very much, Titi, for this. It's funny that at least at the beginning of my career, I was doing a lot of OD before I now transitioned into process management, compensations and benefits. And recently, I've had to consult for a pharmaceutical tech company, and a lot of this has been coming up as part of my recommendations. And a little bit of some of the things you thought, especially when you're talking about the McKinsey models, right? Where stuff that I got, what's the word? I was confused on how to sort out. But the moment I just saw that McKinsey model, you don't know what I just did. I just picked up my computer and just started typing because it kind of unraveled a lot of the mysteries I was having. Right. So I want to say thank you for this. At least if I didn't join this thing, I so I probably have been stuck trying to profess solutions to the company. But yeah, a lot of what you've discussed, right, is actually I think the McKinsey model actually just summarizes everything you've done from the beginning, right?
The
Because
7 S's, yes.
if you take the 7 S's and each one is supposed to be a topic on its own, basically. So I mean, I'm sure when you want to do the second side of this, you're probably going to a lot of it is going to be expanding on that, right? So I mean, if anyone is
Absolutely.
if anybody is, my advice is anybody is confused on how to effectively do any OD design within the organization, I think you just look at the 7 S's. Once you break it down, once you understand each of those 7 S's, right? I mean, every other thing just works well for you. Thank you very much, Titi.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Okay, Mrs. Babalola, I'm unmuting you, ma. Just a minute. Okay, ma.
She can unmute. She's a co-host. She can unmute.
Okay, ma, please
All
unmute, ma.
co-hosts can unmute.
I'm still waiting for your contribution. Thank you, ma.
Okay,
You can
good
speak.
evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, good evening. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, I wanted to add some few points, really. Probably because I'm in consulting, this is like an everyday work for us, is an everyday work in the field. And I just wanted to add some elements to the McKinsey's 7 framework. Usually when we use this kind of framework, you're telling organizations that we use it for mostly startup and existing company. For the existing company, probably because of new product design, because they also want to like metamorphose into something good. There's something we call business life cycle. And when organization move from one transition to the other, there are some growth elements that probably you discover that they are missing, and you want to strategically plan for the future. You use the the McKinsey 7 framework, S framework, to start that. And then also for change management process, we use it to introduce change management process. And that's like you're trying to come into an organization that probably they're having issues that has to do with transformation. Organization transiting to transformation program, they want to metamorphose into something else. Let's say they've been in existence for maybe 7 or 10 years, and they want to start something and move into silos, metamorphose into something simpler and scale down a bit. So when you introduce the McKinsey 7S framework, what you're telling them is there are areas that you can think of improving. You're also developing the comprehensive framework in terms of the strategy, whether you want to do the long-term one, you want to do the medium, and then you want to do the short-term one. And then usually when you do this, you're also looking at the existing elements of the business. What are the things that you need to do away with? What are the things that you need to improve upon? What are the things that you need to just start again? Maybe you stopped one time. So when you're talking about the S, you're talking about like, okay, when you're talking about the strategy, what is the direction that this organization wants to see themselves in the next 3 years, in the next 5, in the 10 years? So you've kind of faced it into different tenors. And when you're talking about the structure itself, you're looking at, probably this, you've had because of what is happening in Nigeria right now, you're looking at that the scope of business is very expensive. You want to scale it down. So let's reduce the span of control. Let's be able to work within the little bit that we have in terms of resources. Then sometimes when you get to the point where you are discussing one of the areas, that is the skill, you are looking at, the right structure that they have in terms of people management. They have been doing recruitment before. What are the things that they have attributed that some of their employees must have in terms of skills? You're looking at the possibility of competencies and knowledge. Okay, you get to the point where there is something you want. Let me say that you are doing recruitment overboard because of a new branch. You get to the point where you are looking at it that what are the things that you need to consider as metrics? This kind of framework will help you to determine what are the competencies that you need to look at, what are the abilities of those people you need to look at, so that if you are going out of those spectrum, you call yourself back home that no, this is not what you have designed for yourself. And we usually look at it that it's like a bridge from where you are now. You are looking into the future. You design it for yourself. You go back to the drawing table. It's like a map. You are losing directions. What are the key elements that you have framed up in your McKinsey's 7S framework? And those are the things that you begin to look at it. And then for the human resources aspect of it is managing the talent, the style that the leadership is also supposed to breed, or it's also supposed to permeate the environment. So that's just what I wanted to say on the 7S McKinsey theory. You're doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you so much for the contribution. Okay, so we have Vivian. Vivian, please. Okay, you may speak,
Okay.
Vivian.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. And it's an awesome session so far. Thank you so much for this session. It's been very enlightening. So quickly, in our discussions on organizational design, right, it is very clear that both the matrix and matrix structure and the holocracy structure, right, despite their potential for flexibility and distributed decision making, it often provides for power struggle, just as you have mentioned, with establishing clear accountability and streamlined decision rights. So recognizing this tension, right? Could you share what strategic mechanisms or leadership behaviors organizations may deploy to balance the benefits of decentralized structures or the issues revolving around power struggles, so as to create more clarity, right, and cohesion and effective execution across board? Thank you.
Okay, so in answering that question, first of all, I always like to refer people to when organizations present this kind of issues. I would I don't give them a straightforward answer, because I want to refer them to a specialist, kind of. I refer them to an OD expert, because that person has to look into their processes, look into the way they do things, their structure, and do a proper diagnosis before the person can advise on a befitting framework for their kind of business. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. You've muted, Vivian. Yes.
Yes, I'm still here.
Yes, so I would always refer to an OD expert so that they can look into the structures, the processes of those organizations, experiencing those issues. So a proper diagnosis can be done, because they will have to look at many things. They won't stand outside, and be working. They have to work with your HR person, to look across board, look at your systems, your processes, and all of that before they come up with a diagnosis and do their prescription and all of that. So that's how it works. That's always how I advise.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
And if peradventure if it's something you're experiencing personally, maybe where you work or something, you can always talk to Dr. Adeosun. You do a referral so someone can work with you to see a possible solution, if that's okay by you.
Okay, thank you. It's not something I'm experiencing currently, but
Yes.
something, of course, looking through trajectory, it's something I came across in the course of my career. But I just thought that we could be able to learn this from a more practical point of views. But I know today is more like a foundational discussion.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Your response is good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You can just drop it for me. If you can drop your WhatsApp contacts for me, maybe personally, so I'll copy it out and save. So if I could reach out to you after now, if that's fine by you also.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Do we have anybody again? I don't see any hand after Vivian's hand. Any question? No new question in the chat box. Tomorrow is Monday, I know, but we're still on the call now. I can still see us on the call. Okay, so any contribution?
Thank you so much, City. That was an excellent job. Thank you so much. Proud of you. Did great. Excellent presentation, slides, content, flow, and many thanks to everyone who contributed one way or the other. You are all well appreciated. As always, this will be uploaded tonight on the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is Oluyemi Adeosun. Just look for Oluyemi Adeosun on YouTube. We have well over 400 sessions on the platform. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we have been enabled to unmute, and the essence of giving us permission to unmute is to express verbally our appreciation to our teacher, facilitator, mentor, coach tonight. Please, let's say thank you to her. Thank you.
TKI.
Thank you so much. We are super grateful.
We go see after this presentation.
Sister,
Thank you so very much.
Titi, well done. Sister Titi, well done.
Thank you.
I want to be like you when I grow up, Otiti.
Sake!